EDC DataCapture is a simple but powerful application that allows you to efficiently capture high-quality data. There are two steps in using EDC DataCapture. First, you will define a data capture job, and second, you or someone else will perform the data capture based on the rules that you've created. We will start by looking at how to set up to create a data capture job. First, we will create a shortcut. Then we will modify this shortcut by adding the words define equals yes. To open EDC DataCapture in definition mode, we will double-click on the shortcut that we have just created. You'll notice 6 icons when you open EDC DataCapture in definition mode. Mousing over each will display its definition. First, we can create a new data capture job. We may open an existing job definition. You may perform data capture, switch the language of the interface between French and English, and change the frequency at which EDC DataCapture automatically saves records that are currently being edited. Finally, the About button allows you to view and modify your license and see which version of DataCapture you're using. Note that EDC DataCapture can be used for a limited time without an internet connection, but will need to periodically verify your license. Let's start by working with an existing data capture definition. We will click on the Open icon. There are two sections in the definition window. At the top, we have various fields that relate to the job as a whole, and down below we have a section in which we will define the fields that we wish to capture. First, we will enter a brief description that will be used in the name of the output file to help us identify what kind of data is contained in it. Next, we can enter some capture instructions that will be available at the time of data capture. Here we have specified that the data capture window will have 2 columns in it. At various points it is possible to use scripting languages to make your data capture even more powerful. However, that is beyond the scope of this tutorial. And finally, we will specify the folder where the data that is captured is to be saved. Now let's look at how to add, modify, delete, rename, and rearrange fields. To add a new field, simply click the Add button, name the field, and click OK. With the field highlighted, click up or down to rearrange it. To rename the field, click the Edit button, and to remove it, click the Remove button. Now let's look at the various options and parameters that we can set for a field. You can make a field required, unique, or both. Specify the type of data that it contains. Further specify a mask, determining the amount and type of characters or dates that the field can contain. For example, using lowercase x's in the mask will allow you to use any character, but if these characters are letters, it will force the first letter of each word to uppercase. You can require that the values fall between a minimum and maximum value, keeping in mind that if the type of field is alphanumeric, this will be treated in dictionary order. For notes fields, you can allow values to contain multiple lines of text, in which case you will specify a maximum number of characters that the overall field can contain. To create a drop-down list, enter lookup values, 1 per line, and then specify whether values that are not in this list are to be accepted. If these values are defined in an external database, we can use scripts to get these lookup values. Specifying double entry will require whoever is performing the data entry to enter the same identical value twice. If we know that groups of items will have the same value, for example, if you're emptying out boxes for a department, we will say that this field defines a group. Calculated values are beyond the scope of this tutorial. And if we specify keep previous value, the value from the previous record will be copied over to the next one. If the first part of a field is identical from one record to the next, and the last part varies, we can specify a number of identical characters to repeat. Note that if we specify keep previous value, then all of the characters will be kept, and this setting here will be ignored. Finally, we can specify that a field has a constant value that will be the same for all records. We can save the data definition file using an existing name, using a new name by clicking the Save As button, and if you attempt to exit definition mode without saving, the system will prompt you to ask whether you wish to do so. We are entering data capture mode. The program will prompt you for a definition file. If you do not wish your users to be prompted, it is also possible to specify this with the command line parameter capture file equals and then the name of your capture file. The name of the individual performing data capture appears in the title bar. If we had not entered this information in the command line parameter or previously entered it in the session, we would have been prompted for this information. On the button bar, we see the current speed and average speed in records per hour. We see the plus button for accepting and adding a new record. We see a dialog bubble, which we have previously seen contains the capture instructions and the information about data capture. We will start capturing data by entering values into the fields that define groups. Pressing the Tab key brings us to the next field, and pressing the down button brings up the list on a drop-down list. Below the divider, we will enter values into the fields that do not define groups. Holding the Control key and pressing Enter accepts the record and creates a new one. Notice that when we create the next record, two types of fields already contain data. These are the constant fields, which are never modified and always displayed, and the fields for which we have asked EDC DataCapture to keep the previous value. If we wish to edit or view a record that we've already entered, we can do so clicking on the record in the window below. If I hit Control Enter, I will be prompted to create another record based on the one that I've just modified. Finally, let's exit EDC DataCapture and look for the file that we've created. As you can see, the CSV output file is saved in the directory specified, named with the date and time of data capture, the description specified in the definition file, and the user specified for data capture. If you have any questions about the EDC DataCapture application, please contact DocuData